Welcome to the Frequency Labyrinth. I am Adrienne McDonald, your host. This podcast is for you if you're done with surface level self-help and ready for something deeper and actually transformative. Around here, we work with ancient wisdom, human design, gene keys, and shamanic practices, not as knowledge to collect, but as tools to live by. This isn't about one size fits all. It's about learning to work with your energy, your design, and your life. This is about integration and embodiment. We go deep here with ancient wisdom, practical integration, so that you can develop ironclad self-trust. Let's get into it. Hello, beautiful humans, and welcome back, or welcome if it's your first time. Grab a cozy beverage. We are going to go over the energy mix for June. Human design gates, some astrological components, the full moon, the new moon, all the good stuff. So let's begin with this truth. We do not come here to say the same. We come into this world so our soul can evolve. Through contrast, through cycles, through choice. And while we walk that path, the cosmos sort of offers a type of choreography, if you will. Yes, we move through the same human design gates every year, but the sky is never the same. The backdrop is always shifting, and that changes everything. That puts a different lens on it. Think of the gates as musical notes. I will take a page out of my mother's playbook, as she is an excellent pianist. Repeating in the same order, but this year they're played in a completely different key. So the tempo is different, the tone has changed, the resonance, it's going to hit different, it's going to hit deeper in some ways, because you're not even the same person you were last year too. That's the beauty of working with the transits. They don't decide your evolution, but they do illuminate it. They illuminate different opportunities. They show you what the energetic invitations are that are already alive in your body. And if you choose to listen, they become powerful allies in becoming who you came here to be. And June, well, June's energy is tuning us to the frequency of discernment, direction, and that deep kind of self-trust that it doesn't shout, it is deep in your bones, it simply knows. I feel like that this month's invitation is not necessarily to go faster, but it's the month to ask, what have I been chasing and why? Or what have I been desiring and why? So this might be the good month to take out that vision board from January and really look at it and go, is this really what I want or not? Because with all of the cosmic soup that's been going on this year, you're probably ready to make some significant changes. So June is about... It may be the moment that you realize that the thing that you've been running towards or working towards might not be what your soul actually needs or wants. And the cosmos is not denying you growth. It may be reorienting it. Saturn in Aries wants you to lead yourself differently. Jupiter in Cancer wants you to be nourished, like deeply. And in between those two truths is the friction that clarifies the next evolution, the next becoming. And you're being asked to live from it, even when it's not convenient. This is about showing up, when it's quiet, especially when it means rooting down instead of escapism. So the first thing I'll say was we begin the month with Saturn relatively fresh in Aries, and this is sort of going to give us a little bit of a preview of what Saturn in Aries is going to be like, because it's going to retrograde back into Pisces, I think, in September. So this is about initiating new cycles of responsibility and it's edgy. It's ripe with potential. But you also might feel a little pressure with it, because Saturn and Aries is all about initiation. So it's like a little bit of a karmic reckoning for the lone wolf. It awakens that part of you that came here to blaze a trail, but you first got to answer, okay, do I feel this fieriness and this initiation grounded in my essence, or is this just a reaction to something? This is not the ego-driven Aries of memes and impatience. This is the initiation, first breath type of Aries, the archetype of incarnation itself. I feel like with Saturn moving to Aries, you're going to see a lot of grifters exposed. When Saturn walks through this terrain, we're confronted with the responsibility of becoming really fully sovereign, not in concept, but in action. And also part of that weight of responsibility comes with that. And in Aries, Saturn strips back the performance of leadership and demands embodiment of it. So as we make this transit over the next couple of years, I really expect some revelations to come out in the public eye for a lot of folks. And the I'll do it myself identity gets tested too, because Saturn's lessons that they don't really tolerate bravado very much, and it's going to ask again and again, can you hold your own authority with integrity, not just intensity? And there's something really ancient here, and something, sort of like it initiates that or reactivates that inner warrior, but not just to randomly fight to be fighting. It's about knowing what your values are and like the hills you're willing to die on, but also evaluating those hills, which I tell people to do anyway, because awareness changes, those hills may change. And to remember that, with great power comes great responsibility, from that Spider-Man quote. And then on June 9th, something really big happens. It's a big day, astrologically speaking. In June, Jupiter moves into Cancer. And Jupiter in Cancer Jupiter's known for expansion and good fortune and that sort of thing. But it asks you to use a little bit more discernment around your growth. It asks you to grow where it actually matters. And after everything that 2025 has stirred up, with the stripping and the severing and the truth refusing to stay buried, and this transit arrives like a breath of fresh air that reaches deep, deep in your bones. And it's not about building more for the sake of building. It's about building almost like a vessel for what nourishes you, what heals you, what roots you in the kind of safety and love that doesn't silence your power as much as it strengthens it. It's that deep devotional nourishment. It's about Jupiter in Cancer expands your emotional capacity, not in some sort of soft-focused spiritual bypass kind of bullshit, for the real messy sacred act of allowing yourself to be held by your body, held by something bigger than you or just the hustle, held by a version of you who no longer needs to prove like your existence is enough, that you're worthy of care. And again, I feel like this transit is devotional, not performative devotion, but like true devotion to your needs, to your healing, to build a life that actually loves you back. And this is one of its exalted homes, Jupiter in Cancer. So it is a return to that emotional wisdom, spiritual nourishment, and values that actually feel good to you. And I do know that on that Also on that day, I think Mercury squares Saturn and Venus squares Pluto, so there is a little bit of a cosmic mix there. And we're going to go through a period, as we always do, of where your mind might doubt what your body already knows. Your relationships might mirror power dynamics that you've outgrown. Because, whenever we have this alchemical type of energy, which I think is what June brings for us, there is also that universal, like, hey, are you sure? Have you really broke the pattern? Like that little universal test, right? And it's an invitation to go deeper, not necessarily wider. This is about moving us from hunger to harmony, from control to communion, from motion to a meaningful stillness within the transits. And then I think there's a lot of astrologers out there talking about the tension between Saturn and squaring Jupiter, which also happens in June. And I think that this is like structure meets expansion, fire meets water, will meets wisdom. This isn't just a transit. It's a mirror. It reveals this. Do you trust yourself enough to move forward while also being deeply attuned to your emotional needs? Being deeply attuned to what nourishes you. Can you honor the call to begin, because Saturn in Aries is all about beginning, right? The initiation, without bypassing the part of you that still has needs and needs to be held, right? And the square doesn't necessarily cancel the energy out. I think it really forces a reconciliation of this. Saturn in Aries says initiate, define, be bold, and Jupiter in Cancer says slow down, soften, expand. Where you're like, let's make us feel more safe and nourished and loved, that type of thing. And together they create this friction that it's really about forging emotional maturity with direction. It's leaving the impulsiveness behind. It's more of an integrated embody movement. And so you could call this tension like a rite of passage for self-leadership, not the kind that's built on, survival, not the kind that collapses into codependence, not the kind that is any of that, but the kind that sort of says, I can lead myself through this while still making space for the nourishment that I need and what I want. And I feel like every gate this month asks something more nuanced from you, not from what you're doing, but the place that you're coming from. So when we start June, we're finishing up in gate 16, which is the gate of skills. And that's about, what are you committing to? What do you want to go deeper in? And it might be encouraging you to sharpen your voice or refine your offerings or I feel like this year is less about show your skills and more about discipline and going deeper. And I think because we're under Saturn's view, the gaze, what's not built in truth it's not sustainable. It's going to eventually collapse. So, as you're finishing this up these last couple of days, because this will drop before June 1st, like, what are you practicing behind closed doors? And is it aligned with the kind of life that you're wanting to design? And then on June 1st, later in the day, we move into gate 35. And gate 35 is the gate of change. And it craves sensation and momentum, something new. The shadow is hunger, and the gift is adventure, and the ascetic state is boundlessness, right? But pairing with the 2025 astrology, depending on where you are in your growth cycle, this hunger may feel like an existential hunger. And you're not just craving a new experience, you're craving meaning. Like the adventure isn't necessarily out there. It's inward. It's into depth. It's into emotional maturity. It's into purpose that, like, of something that you want to create. So I would ask, what are you really longing for beneath the surface? And is it hunger that's guiding you, or is it hijacking you? And then on June 8th, we move into gate 45. And gate 45 is the gatherer. And the gatherer is, it's like power rewritten. It's about truth and clarity and how power structures get cracked open. It's about, rulership, leadership, and how we come together. And I feel like if you're leading from ego, expect a mirror. Where you've led from integrity, I think that there's an opportunity for expansion. The gift of this gate isn't about control, it's about communion. It's not, how do I get them to follow me, but how do we all rise together? This is really, how can we make things better for the collective in change? And a reflection that you could have is, where are you still trying to dominate, where you're meant to harmonize with? And then June 14th, we move into gate 12. And gate 12 is, it's the gate of caution. And this is like an integration zone. This is the speak when moved, not when triggered gate. It's about the art of discernment. Not everything gets your words, not everything gets your energy, not everything gets your presence. And in past years, gate 12 may have felt restrictive to you. And this year, it may feel like dramatically different, because Saturn in Aries is already refining your impulses. Gate 12 polishes that even more. It's like, where do I want to put my energy? And, where do I need to boot the energy vampires? And why, I would ask myself, if you're feeling that pressure to speak, maybe reflect, where does your silence hold more power than your explanation? And then on June 20th, we move into gate 15. And gate 15 is all about magnetism. And I think that this gate is misunderstood a lot, because it's a gate of extremes as well. That's the official gate name. And it's the ability to hold expanded capacity in its highest self. The shadow is dullness, and the gift is magnetism. But that also includes being able to hold more paradox. And when you allow yourself to hold more paradox, you can hold more life. And with Jupiter now fully in Cancer at this point, I think it really amplifies this. Is nourishment isn't a mood, it's a practice. And gate 15 helps you reconnect to your own natural rhythm, not the rhythm of the algorithm, the industry standards, the urgency spiral. This is the week that you can come back into relationship with your own cycles, with your own seasons, because the shadow of the gate of the extreme dullness is disconnection and chasing something that's not yours. And a reflection could be, where have you abandoned your natural rhythm in the name of someone else's timeline or someone else's expectations? And then on June 26th, we come to gate 52. Now, gate 52 is very prominent in my chart. It is the gate of stillness, and it is something that I have struggled with a lot over the years, and now fully embrace, because gate 52 is the exhale. It's the soft place that so many of us avoid. The shadow is stress, and the gift is restraint, and the acidic state is stillness. And the invitation is to sit long enough to hear what your soul has been whispering. And that is so hard for so many people. It was really hard for me for so long, because the deeper wisdom here is stillness isn't about doing nothing. And when you do it right, it's about doing the next thing from clarity and not panic. It's allowing your nervous system to be in a place where it can be the oracle and not the obstacle. And a reflection here is what opens when you stop forcing and responding to pressure and let presence lead. Then let's talk about the full moon in Sagittarius. It's on June 11th. So the full moon is a moment of illumination, one that burns through illusion, especially how you lead, teach, share your truth. Sagittarius loves big ideas, big plans, big futures. And, with this one, though, it might be less shout your truth from the rooftops and more like, are you living it? Do your values and your vision actually line up? Because, it depends on how much work you've done in the spring. I think that you're really going to feel this full moon in that way. So I will say more about that as we get closer. And then we also have the summer solstice this month, June 20th. And the solstice opens up that liminal threshold, a doorway between seasons, where what's been held maybe in the background begins to rise, and Jupiter's now in Cancer, the sun is just crossed the solstice point. You're not being asked to go necessarily faster, but you're being asked to root deeper. So I always am a big fan of a good bone dance during the seasonal transitions. So dance or move your body intuitively through different paces is also good. And, notice what that tells you. So then we have new moon in Cancer on June 25th. And the new moon in Cancer is, I feel like it's more, when we think about new moon in Cancer, I think the first default is soft, but I feel like this is, with all that's going on in the sky, it's going to be very regenerating. Ugh. That's the right word, regenerating. I feel like it's going to say, let's build the container before we go out and try to do all the things. Let the roots grow before you ask for the fruit type of vibe. Let your inner sanctuary become your strategy for once. And I'll go deeper into that later on in the month as well. But I feel like overall, June is about nourishment. And I feel like the invitations aren't loud. They don't come dressed in urgency. They come in the moment of pause, noticing what no longer satisfies you, but what is calling to you that feels satisfying. And as much as you'll hear probably about the expansion, because Jupiter goes into Cancer and Jupiter's all about expansion, I would say to consider that it's not necessarily about more. Expansion can also mean taking things away and less, right? So it's asking for more presence. It's asking you to choose, but not from pressure, not from panic, from power. What my astrology teacher says, that Jupiter brings as much optimism as you can bring courage. And I feel like that really resonated with me. I thought that was great, because there's a lot out there about noise about the fear of Saturn being in its fall in Aries. And I have Saturn natively in my chart in Aries, so maybe I don't look at it that way. But I think that this is a great month to ask yourself throughout the month, like, where am I acting from hunger? trying to fill a void that I might not even be able to name? And where am I really trying to root, to really truly commit from wholeness and not from lack? And let that question be your tuning fork this month. Let it sort of guide your choices and take hold. Thanks for listening. There are a few more days when this drops to obtain your Human Design Energetic Blueprint at the intro price of $44. That link will be in the show notes. And we will return next week with some more news. So in the interim, remember to find beauty every day and seek the magic in the mundane. Thanks for tuning in today. As always, take what resonates, leave the rest. Let whatever landed move through you in whatever way it needs to or wants to. And also, if you want to explore more, you'll find more information in the show notes. If this episode stirred something in you, please share it out or leave a quick review. It helps so much and I really appreciate it. And remember, this work is about integration, and it always starts with self-trust.